Witnessing a sunset at the seashore is one of the most peaceful things a person can ever do. This may turn into the complete opposite if you see some strange things washed up on shore. Here, we will show you the top 20 weirdest things that washed up on the beach. Before we begin, click that like button to inspire us. Also, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to be inspired by this type of ultimate fact. Sea glass creatures. Much like jellyfish, these blue, glass-like sea creatures appear on shore across the U.S. every 4 to 6 weeks. These organisms have a flat, transparent float and a triangular sail that allows the wind to guide them through the sea. However, when the wind picks up, they can find themselves all the way on shore. They are completely harmless and appear on beaches in the thousands, making it quite a spectacle. Although this regular occurrence may spark some concerns regarding their well-being, events like this will not harm the species in any which way. WAXY clumps. Beginning on July 14th, several French beaches in the north of the country experienced a new type of visitor. Thousands of yellow, clumpy masses that arrived with the tide and defied identification, though reports indicated that they smelled faintly of paraffin. An estimated several tons of the waxy objects were washed up on shores along 37 miles of French coastline, and they might represent a byproduct of hot grease in boat exhaust, according to the organization FEMUR Association, which is supervising the cleanup. Sea pickles. Gelatinous, translucent, bumpy-skinned, oblong sea creatures called pyrosomes have recently taken up residence in waters along the Pacific coastline of the U.S., congregating in the millions and washing up on beaches, and no one knows why. The so-called washed-ashore sea pickles are generally found in more tropical waters, and it is uncertain what triggered their unusual population explosion in 2017. A modern sea monster. Gooey masses of decomposing flesh that washed up on beaches can be particularly challenging to identify. In May, residents of Saram Island, Indonesia were treated to the sight of a beached, boat-sized creature dripping with red fluid and with parts of its body inflated by large quantities of gas-producing bacteria. However, scientists explained that the creature was a type of baleen whale, pointing out noticeable grooves in its head area and the presence of visible plates that once held rows of brushy baleen filters, another weird thing to have ever washed up on the beach. Massive driftwood. Seeing a piece of driftwood is quite a normal occurrence on countless beaches, but this is just taking things to a whole other level. This massive piece of driftwood is the weirdest thing to have ever washed up on the shores of La Push Beach in Washington, United States. This driftwood, due to its size, is called a drift log and can usually measure between 5 and 10 feet in diameter and over 100 feet tall. The cause of it appearing on beaches is usually some strong wind or intense windstorms, making it quite the sight to see. The missing dice. This is definitely not something you see every day. One Reddit user took to this online forum to share this odd find. The photo displays a random giant die appearing on the shores of a local US beach, and no one has a clue where it came from. We can't think of too many things a die this big would be needed for. However, we can certainly think of some fun games it can be used for from now on. This might be a head-scratcher, but it's something worth taking advantage of. Yahtzee, anyone? Whale spine. Spinal columns in vertebrates from whales are often found on beaches across the globe. The most recent whale spine was found washed up on the shore of West Runton Beach and measured nearly 6 feet long and was guessed to be a spinal column from a sperm whale. Bones found on beaches are oftentimes taken in for a closer look, where they then appear on display in museums or sea life centers. Enormous ovaries. When a deep-sea oarfish measuring 13.5 feet in length washed up on Catalina Island in California on June 1, 2015, it offered scientists the rare opportunity to take a closer look at the elusive fish's biology. Because oarfish live in the ocean depths, there is much about their anatomy and behavior that is unknown, and teams of scientists jumped at the chance to study the animal's skeleton, muscles, feeding structures, and reproductive system, which included 7-foot-long ovaries. Dinosaur femur. Part of an 80-million-year-old fossil thigh bone found embedded in marine rock in Washington's San Juan Islands provided the first evidence that dinosaurs once roamed the state. Paleontologists discovered the femur while looking for fossilized signs of other extinct animals, and the rock was so hard that it took an entire day to pry the fossil out. Though it is unclear what species of dinosaur the bone belonged to, the scientists eventually identified it as a theropod, a type of meat-eating dinosaur, in a study published in 2015 in the journal PLOS 1. Pufferfish skeleton. A perfectly preserved pufferfish skeleton was the craziest thing found on the beach in New Zealand. This Kiwi country finds itself home to quite a lot of beach surprises, adding this fish skeleton to the list. It is rare to find a skeleton in such perfect condition, but this pufferfish skeleton managed to remain quite intact when found on a pebble beach. Strong tides can easily wash fish and sea creatures onto the beach, leaving them with an unfortunate fate. However, this made for quite an interesting discovery. Barge. This one really makes you think, how on earth did this manage to wash up on shore? This past summer, a massive barge appeared on the shore of St. Pete Beach in Florida. The barge measured in at nearly 40 tons, 200 feet long, 40 feet wide, and 8 feet tall. Vacationers at St. Pete Beach have never seen anything like this before, and hopefully it does not become a common occurrence. Shark head. As I mentioned, sea life is often found on beaches. Sharks have found themselves washed ashore numerous times in the past. However, this is definitely a first. A shark head, and only its head, was discovered ashore on a beach located at Farewell Spit, New Zealand. Locals and sea life specialists had no idea how a severed shark head managed to find its way onto the beach, and more importantly, had no clue where the remaining parts of the shark were. Conjoined dolphins. Next up on the list of strangest things found ashore are conjoined dolphins. A two-headed dolphin washed up on a beach in Izmir, Turkey, and shocked the many tourists in attendance that day. The two-headed dolphin, which was only 12 months old, measured nearly 1 meter in length and had washed up due to a terrible storm the night before. Although dolphins popping up on beaches may be common, conjoined dolphins is a completely different story. We can't imagine this being a pretty sight to see in person. Couch. Another Reddit user posted this couch, weirdest things found in Washington Beach. Sometimes people really have had it with their furniture, but there really is no need to toss it into the ocean. Although they thought they'd seen the last of their gray sofa, it isn't going out without a fight. Seaweed and all. Shipwrecks. Believe it or not, ships manage to find themselves on shore too. Shipwrecks and abandoned boats will find themselves washing up on shore due to the ocean's heavy winds and strong tides. One ship in particular that has become quite a tourist attraction can be found on Fraser Island, Australia, where a massive ship remains on shore for people to enjoy while spending the day at the beach. Some locals even went as far as to decorate the ship with some paint, adding in a little color to its rusty exterior. Airplanes. This one may not come as such a shock, but behold, numerous airplanes have been discovered on shore. Many remain unrecognized, while others have been deemed as a product of a crash, emergency water landing, or remnants of warplanes from the past. One aircraft in particular, a United States Army Air Force fighter, crashed on the Gwynedd coast during World War II and was discovered nearly 60 years later on the shore of a Welsh beach. You never know what might pop up from the past. Harley-Davidson. A rusty Harley-Davidson motorbike washed up on the coast of British Columbia, Canada, which was believed to have been swept into the Pacific Ocean by the Japanese tsunami in 2012. The motorbike is believed to originate from Miyagi, northern Japan, before being swept into the ocean and making its way to Canada. With over 1.5 million tons of debris entering the waters from that tsunami, this Harley-Davidson managed to survive its entire trip over to North America. Talk about putting up a fight. The best part, the person who discovered the motorbike attempted to find out who the owner was in order to return it. They don't say Canadians are nice for no reason. Giant eyeball. You can come across a lot of weird things found on the beach. However, a giant eyeball isn't expected to be one of them. This giant eyeball ended up being washed onto the shore of Pompano Beach and was estimated to be the size of a standard softball. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission was immediately contacted and retrieved the massive eyeball for a thorough examination. Many believe the eyeball is from a squid, giant fish, or whale. However, genetic testing is required in order to determine exactly what species it came from. scary fish. Much of the time, creatures from the sea wash up on the shore of countless beaches. However, this time around, a fish scary enough to have you run away washed up on the shore of Mooloolaba Beach. This frightening creature, which is known to live in some of the deepest parts of the sea, is quite a rare species with sharp teeth and dark scales that have warranted its name as the hellfish. Rubber ducks. The attack of the rubber ducks. A container carrying a massive 28,000 rubber ducks was lost at sea nearly 25 years ago. However, its contents are still washing ashore around the globe today. Believe it or not, a shipping container that spilled thousands of rubber ducks back in 1992 in the Pacific Ocean are still being found on beaches across the nation to this date. The shipment first left Hong Kong, and its contents have since been found on beaches in countless countries, from Canada, United States, Ecuador, Colombia, England, and France. If you've come across a rubber duck at any point, it may just be from 25 years ago. Which one did you find the weirdest? Let us know in the comments section. Like always, if you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a big thumbs up and leave us some love in the comments section. To keep up to date with all of our awesome videos, be sure to hit subscribe and turn your notifications on to never miss a thing. Until next time, do take good care of yourself.